just jot these down, but I'm talking less than 1 billion, and we can call that the small medium business, 1 to 10, and 10 and above.
Okay.
So for
and you said source to pay, P2P, and then the full suite.
No, it's source to contract, just that part.
Okay, source to contract, and then e-procurement.
And then sorry. So the way we're thinking about it is source to pay is the full suite, and we've got within that source to contract and procure to pay.
Okay, upstream, downstream.
Exactly. So for the procure to pay, the downstream, in the $10 billion segment, what kind of penetration rate do you think exists in the market?
I think it's pretty high. I would say above 50%. I think either they have a system, or they're very familiar with it, or they're replacing the system. And in the downstream, replacement is very tough. So in most cases, they've got it, and it's hard to displace.
Got it.
If we go to the 1 to 10 billion, I think it's less than 50%. It's a high interest area for most of those guys in that space. And I think in the end, it came down to a few players that ultimately, got down to who they were looking at. But definitely there was high interest in putting a system in place and or improving that process.
What percent would you give it?
Installed or interested in a system?
Let's say actually installed, penetrated, yeah.
1 to 10 billion. I would guess 25 to 30%.
Okay, great. And then how about in that small medium business, the less than 1 billion segment?
Small. I would say 10%.
Okay, great. And then by 2022, 5 years down the road, what do you think the penetration rates for downstream procure to pay will be for the $10 billion segment?
If it's at above 50 now, I would say above 75, 80.
Pretty rapid growth.
Yeah, I just think if you're not doing it, you need to be doing it. So I think it's just a matter of getting whoever hasn't done it deployed.
Okay. What about in the 1 to 10?
I would think 25 to going to grow from 25 to 65 or 70%.
And then what about in that small medium business category?
Boy, that's where it's going to vary based on the technology where it's at. I think it's going to go from anywhere from 10% to somewhere between 30 and 55. And I say that because it's going to depend on how easy the technology solutions come out and are easy to use and easy to deploy. Because today they're not, and that's the biggest adoption.
That makes sense.
Imagine something like Amazon comes out with that system, which I know they're trying to, and they make it as easy to use as it is to buy prime at home. That rate in the small business could certainly be 60 or 70% if they make it that easy to deploy, even though it's a huge market segment.
Great. Okay. Could we do the same thing for source to contract, maybe what it is today and what it'll be in 5 years?
Sure. So source to contract in the above 10 billion is definitely a high adoption, probably 70% plus today. In the 1 to 10 billion, it's still high, probably 40 to 50%.
Okay.
And in the small size, it's probably much smaller. And are we talking? We're talking more indirect. Is that correct, or direct?
Yeah, still indirect here. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, in the below 1 billion, it's probably 10 to 15%.